thank you for joining us all this morning in this very interesting discussion. It's about trends in mobile app advertising, specifically with an APAC perspective. Before we kick off, it'd be great if we can sort of get a round of introduction from all the panelists. So Lars, over to you.
Yeah, sure, thanks. Yeah, sure, thanks. So I'm Lars Olsen. I run Icehouse. We're the only Google-certified developer agency in Southeast Asia. Our core offering is idea to app in 100 days. So we have everything from mobile strategy, design, business analysts, engineers, and QA. Work with a lot of startups in North America, startups and enterprises here in the region, doing a lot of digital transformation, bringing new products to market. So we are often on both the supply side and the demand side. So it's been really interesting day today.
Hello, my name is Yanli. I'm from Beribenka. It's a fashion e-commerce from Indonesia, and it's our 4th year. And so we have also the second domain for Hijabenka that serves the various brands of Muslim fashion in Indonesia.
Hello, hi. Selamat pagi. I'm Italo from Ascom. We are local audience data exchange that empower programmatic advertising and also financial technology.
Hi, this is Shun. We are from Berlin, and then we have regional headquarters from the Seoul. So basically, we are a mobile marketing company which covers user acquisition, everything about user acquisitions, the CPI, so retargeting, programmatic, and all sorts of different things. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm Ruksh Chatterji. I'm co-founder of RevX. RevX is a programmatic ads platform. We're focused principally as a retargeter and work with a lot of clients here in this region on app retargeting. Additionally, we also have a native ads platform, which is beginning to gain a lot of traction with agencies in this market. So without further ado, let me sort of kick off the panel. We've been asked to talk about a very broad subject. It says trends in mobile app advertising with an APAC perspective. So wanted to sort of anchor it down to a few broad topics we want to talk about. And this group, we had a quick discussion earlier. And so we're anchoring it down to 5 things we want to talk about today. 1, there's a clear move away from sort of bulk or / junk installs over the last year. That's 1. 2, we found that a lot of our clients are actually focusing on reactivating dormant users, which is a core and a very critical area for them to continue their growth. 3, we're talking about the rise of native in-app inventory and how that is sort of changing monetization across this region. And lastly, finding sort of innovative ways to engage your users, and Lars is going to talk about some of the offline component of how offline is being used to drive traffic for apps particularly. And lastly, very, very clear focus on ROI or return on ad spend for all of our clients. That's a clear trend that we've seen across this region. So kicking off with the first topic, which is the move away from sort of bulk and sort of junk installs. Maybe I'll sort of pick on Yanli. Like a lot of e-commerce players, Beribenka sort of clearly must have seen a massive surge in installs in the early period. Would you like to sort of talk about how you sort of have changed your methodologies of driving installs for the app?
Yeah, I think the most popular app install campaign in the market is usually the incentivized campaign. Yeah, usually the like download our apps and then get some coins like in some social chat or so. That makes the quality of the user is not that good in terms of LTV. That's why we usually use the social social advertisement to keep the quality of the users, and then usually we don't use CPI or purely on CPI and then the cheap installs to get the number of UA. We get more tolerant on the higher CPI, but more into the higher conversion rate in terms of sales, and then the other KPI like registration. So in the future, in the long term, we can get more LTV from the quality users.
Got it. Jun, has the going got tougher for players like you, therefore, because the hurdles that you have to cross to sort of get sort of that CPI payout has become harder?
Yes. So basically, I mean, we have a rewarded ads platform, but like as a sort of a ad network business that we are running, we've been facing a lot also from a lot of challenges from our supply side. Basically, extremely, for especially like the incentivized platform, whether we check whether it's a machine, because sometimes it's like a machine or the computers that we're actually generating the installs, and then basically once you look at the LTV of such installs, then which usually is really bad. And in terms of just sustained campaigns, basically non-incentivized sort of a traffic, there's a sort of a new ways of fraud, which will be elaborated in different panel, I heard. And then, but in general, like we are making a lot of efforts by looking at when it's like an install time, when it's the open time. So it's been, again, like a big issue, especially this year, also from our advertisers and also from our supply side, to prevent such like a fraud installs in order to generate the quality installs. Yes.
Got it. Lars, you operate across the entire spectrum, helping clients build out their app, etc. What do you recommend to your clients to sort of drive installs to the app? What sort of strategies have your clients also started seeing traction on?
So I think we start really early, right? About really picking out the right segment and understanding the customer journey and identifying the persona that you're actually trying to sell into. So a lot of success, I think, is the part that people are ignoring, right? That happens even before some of you guys even get called out when you're doing product strategy and product design. Then of course the next step is making sure that the funnel, once they land in your app, is actually going to get the result that you're looking for. And I think that's often overlooked by people in this part of the ecosystem, right? We think, ad is really about getting that install or maybe driving the event inside the app, but it's almost like a black box. And I think that's something where this part of the ecosystem could step up its game a little bit and help contribute data, help contribute ideas, and help contribute sort of best practices back. Because if your customers are successful, if our customers are successful, they're going to increase their ad spend. But no matter how effective you are at getting those installs, if in the end the customer is dissatisfied or unable to execute whatever that core use case, that core conversion is, that revenue is going to dry up very quickly.
But in terms of any strategies, have you seen any of acquisition strategies that have been particularly successful with some of your clients?
So I'm going to be the radical one at the table. I think that GoPay is the best acquisition strategy on the planet, right? So if you look at the idea of GoJek or GoBike as the acquisition strategy for GoPay, that was a really clever guerrilla flanking move. And so they're able to bypass the customer acquisition cost in a lot of ways. So they're buying customers in a much lower price market and then converting them into a much higher price market. If they were to go out and try to buy, installs for a mobile payment solution, right, that CAC is going to be a lot higher. And I think we're seeing really the really big winners are the ones that are thinking a lot about those kinds of strategies, right? Rather than just like, what are the keywords that are slightly less expensive where I can save, a marginal couple of pennies per. But really looking at this in a much more strategic way. Can I work either with a partner that's already here, right? And can I come in on a flanking position?
That's a great insight. So finding ways to look at your business orthogonally almost. Italo, on the trading desk side, since you sort of are on the client-facing side on that side, what about user acquisition? Have you seen sort of the traditional affiliate model sort of shrink and other models kick in terms of user acquisition?
Yeah, I think I agree with Yanli that the focus should be not the CPI. There is still many of advertisers come to me, look, I want to have a CPI of less than 50 cents. So at the end, CPI means nothing. At the end, is the business impact is something that you should like monitor, because install is not a business impact. I think for Berry Banka, they are not looking for the number of install, but they are looking the revenue generated, that actually people like really paying for this product. So with on the in our case, we use a lot of data to really engage up to the. Usually, how we track the simple is actually after the install, after certain days, is it the user still active using it? So I think what Yang said, the LTV, the customer lifetime value, is something is more important, because you cannot measure the ROI based on only on the install, because install means nothing, but based on the usage of the app itself. So we need to track, usually we track all the way until the transaction, and then we can really focus on the ROI. And I think, yeah, last year there's a lot of offering coming from mobile ad network, incentive-based mobile ad network, which is, I think logically, that's actually bribing the customer, and consumers are very smart. They love to get something, but they will not loyal to install. And I think the second thing that really need to be being reviewed as well, building an app is actually is really hard, because especially in the Indonesian market, some of the user has this very limited memory. Right. So, and then they only have certain numbers of app that can be installed. So after Gojek, after Facebook, after WhatsApp, after Instagram, after, for the case of, for example, e-commerce, are you guys like, what kind of, they put you? So, and then there's Gojek is actually perfect, because we use it every day. Even we use it many times in a day. But in the case for Berry Banka, how many people are actually using it on the weekly basis? Are they opening on like a daily basis? Are they like buying, shopping on a daily basis? Poor husband. Okay, that's my thought.
But just staying with you, it's a great segue to the next point that we wanted to discuss, which is sort of reactivating dormant users. Since you've got a bunch of 50-cent installs already, sort of spent your money doing those 50-cent installs, what have you seen sort of, Italo, in terms of sort of getting back, or efforts to get back some of those dormant customers?
Yeah, I think that's actually should be the first focus, to have a proper nurturing solution platform or retargeting platform before you start everything. Because no point for you to start engage pushing client to their app. In Indonesia, I call it ember bocor. So you put the water in the basket, but actually it's dripping all around because you don't have a proper engagement platform. So I think that's actually very important, because when people go already using your app, that should be the number one customer, because they're already interested in something.
Sure.
So that's actually very important thing to set up.
So June, have you sort of seen a lot of these dormant user reactivation campaigns kick off at your end?
Yes, so we've been running quite a few retargeting campaigns, especially once they look at, we work with one of the biggest e-commerce in Korea, and then what I observe is, because, like about a year ago, this programmatic and all these, like dynamic as sort of a trend was kicking in, and then I was explaining a lot to our customers, you know what, mobile world is changing, you also need to move ahead with this trend. But then no one was understanding it. So this time, I was approaching them, you know what? It's re-engaging your dormant users based on the exact data that we are receiving it, and we are actually running that, and then we actually show the performance of ROI, and then a lot of customers actually liked it. So in other way, I mean, a lot of changes that we're looking at in mobile world, like I think the retargeting is sort of a way that is visualized sort of how things will change in terms of, like how advertiser can utilize their data, but in terms of supply side as well, how to sort of aggregate such, quality data to deliver the result, in terms of, like different segments or in terms of different targets. Yes.
Right, and Yanli, any efforts that you are doing at Berry Banka to sort of bring back dormant customers or inactive customers?
Yeah, I think first for Indonesian market itself, because it's more into the mid to low market, and then when their phone memory is getting more full, they should delete some of their apps. And one of their options for sure is the app that they rarely use, which is shopping. That's why other than collecting as many install as we can, we should think more on how we engage them to our apps, like in a weekly or a monthly basis. That's why we also use retargeting to re-engage those people who uninstall our app, and then combine it with our CRM effort. So when they reinstall, they don't uninstall it again.
Right. Talking about sort of reactivating dormant customers and innovative ways to sort of re-engage your customers, Lars, you sort of had mentioned some of the offline and to online methodologies and vice versa. Would you like to touch upon that point?
Yeah, sure, thanks. So I think in general, what we're starting to see at the bleeding edge, right, is that folks are recognizing that the phone isn't just about being everywhere, right, or anywhere. It's really about being everywhere, right, and it's all the time.
Right.
So customer experiences that are augmenting a real-world interaction through that digital device, as either it's sensor systems or it's proximity detection or location detection, that's sort of the next generation, I think, of native advertising. That's the next generation of engagement, and certainly for re-engagement. So, there are places and times that your app is more relevant to that user.
Right. So it's far more contextual.
So if they dropped out, right? If they dropped out of your funnel, don't just think about sort of the digital territory that you control or that you've lost control of. Right? Think about how that app integrates into that person's life routines and identify the spark event, right? That moment where your brand is relevant to them again. And that's the time to try to re-engage them, right? With a push notification or perhaps with offline advertising. Or some sort of partnership into retail channels or whatever that sort of real world thing is that makes your brand relevant again at that moment.
Right. Yanli, are you using some of these methodologies, especially on the offline side, or trying to find sort of relevant points to sort of re-engage customers, perhaps through notifications or retargeting?
Yeah. We do some offline approach to our customers, as we are having some